Jay-Z, shoot and tie. Now, for generations, many men have been taught to be strong, to keep going, to, shoulder and man up no matter what they're going through. As a result, many men suffer in silence, carrying stress, grief, anxiety, heartbreak, financial pressure, and emotional struggles between smiles. And stating statements like, I'm fine. The culture of silence has created an unspeakable crisis. Men do not know how to express what they feel, don't know how to seek or where to seek help, and fear being judged if they do. June happens to be Men's Mental Health Month, and we're wrapping up the conversation by rethinking masculinity.
This is trouble season.
Challenging long-held stereotypes and creating spaces safe enough for the men to speak. Now, to lead us through this conversation is a clinical pharmacist, a speaker and podcaster, the host and founder of the Shelf Conversation podcast, and a mental health advocate. It's Kwame Osei Owusu. Hi, Kwame. How are you doing?
Hello, AJ. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How's the month of June been like for you?
The month of June has been quite hectic with work because I have to be on tour talking about this important conversation. At the same time, I've also taken good care of my mental health.
I can imagine.
I had to actually take a break on the tour, rest, reconnect with family, and come back on tour. So it's been a very reflective and a very wonderful one because the mission that I brought, I believe, has been fulfilled. The first phase has been fulfilled, and hopefully we'll be able to continue.
I like the sound of that. But now let's break it down.
Yes.
Why do men find it so hard to speak about their emotions?
It's actually a double-layered question. Firstly, I would actually tackle it from the point of view of how society has put men and how they need to react. Society has put men in a certain way that men cannot express their emotions, which our Ghanaian culture actually is one of such, whereby we are being told men do not cry, especially in a very grieving moment. So if you're a man and you want to even cry, it becomes like it's so weird to actually end up expressing emotions. But I broke it. I actually cried. I've cried doing funerals, my late grandmom and my granddad, and even when my cousin passed, I cried because I felt like, why should my emotions be restricted? God put that emotion in me to be able to express it in a moment when it's actually needed. So why should I do so? Also, because of how society has put men as head. So when you actually end up putting top CEOs in the world, you realize that the statistics shows and favors more of men. Therefore, there is that responsibility of leadership. As a leader, you are not being taught to how to express your emotions, i.e., if you express weakness, it shows that when you express your vulnerability, it shows you are weak, not strong. So it has made it very difficult for a lot of men to boss it up, to shrug their shoulders and move on. And even going back into the Bible, whereby God created Adam and Eve, he actually put the world, everything in the hands of Adam before he even created Eve. Therefore, it shows that form of leadership at the back of men's mind make it very difficult for them to even seek help from other people, because it will be shown as my boss is actually weak. But it's actually a form of strength. And for a leader to be successful, or for society to be able to grow and be nourishing, we need men to be able to actually have these conversations, because most men cannot even have this conversation with their fellow men. How much more open up to their female counterparts? So that is what has actually become that kind of obstacle for men not to open up as much as they should.
Is it more of society that has pressured men to prevent them from being vulnerable where needed? Or is it more of our upbringing and our personal choices?
Society actually plays a role, and our upbringing also does, because as I made mention, I wrote a spoken word called Be a Man, which is available on YouTube. And in that, I tackled it that even in the house, as young as you might be, at 6 or 7 years old, maybe you might be the only male in the house, you are being actually put in a position that one day you're going to be a man. So be a man now. Therefore, it does not allow the child male to be able to fully understand, one, their emotions, two, what it takes for them to even develop to become a man, and three, the support. Because that form of stoicness and also that kind of masculinity has made a lot of men to be very tough in their upbringing. Therefore, if they grow up and even they raise a family, because they have not known much better beyond what they are being taught, they are pushed to also pass on that kind of trait until down the line they either get a supportive partner, i.e. in marriage or relationship, or even a male mentor who will be able to stop them, have a conversation with them to be able to rewire what it takes them to actually become a man. So that kind of phrase has been there. And also, one thing I forgot to actually make mention of is that males are naturally born with ego, right? And when I mean ego, I'm not talking about pride, but the ego in the sense that it can easily be bruised. And for them not to actually express that it's being bruised, they have to put up that kind of mask of being brave, being tough. Meanwhile, deep within them, they know that they are actually suffering. But opening up about it, they believe it's a form of weakness. So that's how it's actually put us in the position that society, our upbringing, the ego, our natural ego in us has made this become very difficult as well.
Now let's look at the consequences of this to a man, because a lot of times you don't even see the signs that people are struggling with their mental health or anything of that sort. So what are some of the signs people should look out for that this person is repressing their emotions?
Some of the signs that people need to look out for, it differs from person to person. I have been in that position before whereby I've been able to mask it because I didn't know who to speak to, and I didn't want that kind of stigma to be attached to me. However, when I realized that enough was enough, I was able to open up. Some people are able to all of a sudden be in a happy mood that they've never expressed before. I had a conversation with one lady who the brother actually took his life by suicide. And she said a day before the brother passed, they were at a party. He was the jolliest person in the party. She didn't see that sign coming. So such a person can easily mask it. Some people too, they will express it by being very moody. They will be low in mood. Any little thing, they will start snapping, and they end up getting easily agitated. Some people also showcase it by social withdrawal. They end up moving slightly away from their friends. When you ask them, I want my privacy, that has been something that has been going on in our current generation. A lot of people start talking about they want their privacy. What exactly is going on that even your closest friend you want to shield yourself away from? Some people also end up showcasing it by lack of adequate sleep. They're unable to sleep, sleepless nights, which also can also affect their mood and can lead to depression. Some people too can actually experience consistent headache that has been going on. They've taken paracetamol and it's not even helping to manage the headache that they're experiencing. So these are some of the signs. Some people also start to actually hallucinate or even start using substances such as alcohol or cannabis as a way of masking the pain that they are going through.
So at this point in time, these are very important signs that family and friends can look out for.
Yes.
But why do men wait till they're completely overwhelmed before they seek help? And how do you start the process of asking for help?
Yeah. Some people do not even ask for help at all. That's the saddest thing. And the outcome is they are actually taking their lives. Some people too do not seek for help, and it ends up transforming their character of becoming abusive. They end up becoming people who do not even have emotions. They don't regard anyone. And some people tend to seek for help after it has become apparent, after they have someone very close to them have had that honest conversation with them and they start to open up. Before they open up, they have to establish that they can trust the person. That's always one of the most difficult things. When you do a survey and you ask people, or men, why they have no opinion, they say that, I don't want someone to take my information away and I'll be seen as weak. And as I made mention of ego, if a man is actually seen as weak in the society, they believe their ego has been snatched away and is being punctured. So they will not even go to the extent of even sharing it. But those who are able to establish the trust and start to see how it has affected the people around them and even affected themselves, because the people who are experiencing it sometimes become sighted. They don't even know or see what's going on around them. The only thing they know is they are in a place, but they don't know how to get out and they don't even know where they are. So when people around them start to see these signs and have that honest conversation with them and assure them that they can get the help that they need, it changes the whole conversation, it changes the whole dynamic. So it tends to help them from that point of view to start seeking for help.
I like that a lot. If you just tune in, having an amazing conversation with Kwame Oseusu. We're talking on the man's mental health. June happened to be Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and as we're wrapping up the month, we're trying to get a bit more context on how men can seek help, what to identify as a problem if you're maybe in that person's life, and also how the men can be encouraged to speak up. Now, what does healthy masculinity look like?
Healthy masculinity is one, identifying your weakness and seeking help for, and not making excuses. Because we've heard it a lot. I found a funny quote somewhere. They said, we are living in a time that people are using their background as, I came from this background. It says the moment you hit 30, you are the background.
Ain't that the truth?
you are the background. Right now, you're going to be the one your nieces, your son, your daughter are going to refer to that.
That's
this
true.
Is what my dad did.
Yeah.
But on a more serious note, it's about seeking for help. Because we all grew up from somewhere. We learned different things from different environments. We picked up certain traits that if we have carried on in our current society, I believe we would have been placed in a category that would have actually not been nice. So it's about we identifying where we fall short of and seeking for help. If I believe I find it very difficult to communicate to people about my needs, I need to get people around me. How would I be able to seek for help when I need it? What time should I actually do it as well? Because sometimes some people believe that saying it at the latter part is the best time because all the signs and symptoms become apparent. That is not so. If you start to seek help at the very get-go that you've identified this, even by having a conversation, the moment you have that conversation, at least he has made you aware. Me becoming an advocate has made me become so much aware of my own mental health that when things are going wrong, I can easily identify and I can speak to someone. Healthy masculinity is also knowing the people that you are working with. So many men are working with people that they can't even share their issues with. They can't even ask for simple help. Even, let's put mental health aside. They cannot even ask for help, i.e. advice, or let's say their life choices. I want to maybe invest in this kind of business. What do you think? Meanwhile, there's a friend who has studied business or economics who might be able to give their 2 cents to make the decision easier. They don't do it. I've got one of my friends who I always consult any way or form. Before I make that decision, I want to hear his voice. Once he gives the advice, it makes me feel settled. These are some of the stuff we can do. Also, healthy masculinity is also taking our physical health very serious, because once we start to take our physical health serious, it can also ease the pressure on our mental health. When I mean physical health, it's not just about going to the gym, lifting metals. By playing football with your mates, having healthy conversations, football conversation. Right now, World Cup is on. Support a team. It will kick that kind of dopamine, the happy hormones that will help you to to be able to be happy. And once you're happy physically, it will show, and mentally it would also show as well. So these are some of the traits of healthy masculinity that we can practice.
And I see that you've even mentioned some very practical steps while defining that, but let's look at a few more practical steps.
Yes.
For a man tuned in right now who wants to prioritize his mental health, who wants to do better, what are some steps to take to prioritize your mental health?
Some of the steps that you can actually take is, one, it starts with you, the self-assessment. Am I okay? You wake up from your bed, you ask yourself, am I okay? If you know your mood is actually being affected by something, who is causing it? What are the triggers? Are you able to identify it? Is it someone in your household? Is it a friend? Is it something that you can actually have that conversation with a friend about, rather than it sitting on top of your head early in the morning that you're supposed to go to work? You can't even focus. It's better to have that kind of conversation regardless of the outcome, to let it go than to keep it to yourself, and it's having a very a hard toll on you. Another way is alcohol. A lot of people use it as a form of let me call it their medicine. However, alcohol itself is a depressant. Alcohol can cause a major depression, which is a conversation a lot of people don't want us to have. But alcohol itself is a depressant, whereby people use it to try and mask their problems or get away from the problem. Meanwhile, the alcohol is going to make it worse, because once it wears off, you are going to still see the problem staring at you. A lot of other men too tend to actually use cannabis as a way of trying to get over their problem, which is not. Because people always argue that, oh, this person has been taking cannabis for this number of years, but they're fine. But I'm here to burst that myth that everybody has got different physiology. Therefore, that person who is taking it might be all right for taking it for a long period of time, but with another man taking it, just one smoke could be it. They will start hallucinating, because the addictive substance in there, which is the THC, the tetrahydro cannabinol, is going to actually end up making you become addicted to that substance. So it's really important that we look after ourselves in a healthy way and try and avoid all these kind of substances in order, because people will have the myth that, oh, this keeps me calm, this keeps me okay. No, the only way that you can keep calm is by maybe speaking to a therapist who will be able to walk you through the problem, or even speaking to a trusted person, as I made mention of conversations. The people around you, the information that you share with them, the conversation you have can either make you or break you. So it's really important that we look at our circles on who can support us or who can actually help us.
I like that a lot. All right, so coming to the role of a woman, and wrapping up the conversation, because women tend to be the ones that are the closest to the men, either as life partners, as family members, or something of that sort. What can we do to ensure that men are more comfortable to speak about their emotions or be more vulnerable? And how can we identify when the people we're with are struggling mentally?
It's good that you made mention of women, because women are able to read very, very easily. They are able to know if someone is okay or not. I would say we can actually approach the conversation. If you want to actually have that conversation with a male, you can approach it in a formal chat. In an informal chat, rather than approaching it as, I think you're going through something. You can actually have a conversation like, oh, how are you doing? How's life going? And beyond that, I know the person will start saying, oh, it's fine. But if you say, are you okay? It gives them the close answer, yes or no. But if you say, oh, how is life going? You've opened up to have a conversation, maybe a chit chat, their usual stuff that they do. If it's football that they play, maybe you are going to see a football with them. Through that, they will start to develop that kind of trust that I think this person really cares about what I'm going through. So let me open up a little bit more. That is one of the ways. And another way is we listening. Some people actually hear it, but they don't listen. Listening in the sense that you are processing what the person is actually saying, not being judgmental, not stepping in. If the person opens up about, let's say, an addiction, it's not for the whole world or for the rest of the world to hear about it. It's about the person trusting you and you helping with the solution. You might not have the full answer, you might not have the solution. However, by assuring and being the backbone of the person and bringing ideas on board would help the person know that I think this person truly actually trusts me. And I think women are actually doing well in that part already. Our mothers are doing it, our cousins, our female friends, the people we are in a relationship with are also helping. All forms of relationship are doing it. So it's more of we actually continuing and encouraging them to be able to let them know that they have got someone they can actually speak to if anything arises. And if we also identify it as well, we'll be able to actually speak about it.
I like that a lot. Okay, so these are some of the ways in which the women around us can be able to, or around the men, can be able to help out with that. So today, the conversation you can start is how are you doing? How's life treating you? It's a way to start off a conversation in there. But are we, the women, sometimes guilty of reinforcing some of these stereotypes? And how can we move away from that?
It's a yes or no and no, because I wouldn't say women are the cause of it or stereotypically putting men in that position, because we've got women out there who are really listening, giving the men the support, but they are not even taking it on board. So I wouldn't actually pin it on women being, but if you speak to some guys, they will tell you that maybe their relationship, because of the demands that is in there, or their marriage, because of the wild dreams or some of the expectations, it puts a lot of pressure on them. Because they love the person and they want to be with the person, no matter what it takes, they want to fulfill it at the expense of their mental health. So some of times it's those kind of demands that really pushes some males in that kind of position, that because they want the person to stay in their life and because they want to be called responsible, even if they cannot and it has to cost their mental health, they have to cross that bridge. But to me, I always tell people this, that your mental health should be the bridge that you should never cross over. The moment you feel the toll on you, speak up. If the person is really someone who really wants to do life with you and really cares about you, they would actually step in and understand and even help you and reserve whatever that they are trying to actually do.
All right, wonderful. Now, final word from you. What's the message to a man or a young gentleman somewhere who is silently carrying burdens that no one knows about?
What I would actually encourage anyone listening this afternoon or morning is that please don't end up struggling alone. It's better to share the problem. Even if you actually don't want to share with a family member, walk into a healthcare facility closer to you. The doctor, the nurse that you speak to has been trained. If they will not be able to handle it, they'll be able to signpost you or get in touch with a fellow clinician who will be able to assist and help you. There is a lot of help available. It was when I came to Ghana and I actually did my round table. That was when I spoke to one of my friends who's a psychiatrist. From my research I did, it showed me only 3 psychiatric hospitals in Ghana, which is Ankafo in Central Region, Accra Psychiatric Hospital, and Pantang Hospital. But that is the truth. The truth is, every teaching hospital have got a psychiatric unit and a mental health unit, which is there to be able to help. But we don't hear much about it. The advocacy around this conversation is not a lot. So don't ever think that the help is far away from you. It's closer to you and is very, very near to you than you could actually imagine. And my message I would like to actually give to the rest of the listeners is this conversation shouldn't end just in June. We should just carry on in our everyday conversation, because that is how we could actually support men and even women and children as well. And if you want to hear more about what I'm doing, you can actually follow me on the Shelf Conversation podcast on social media such as Instagram. On TikTok is the Shelf Conversation Pod. On YouTube is Osei Usukwame, and also I'm available on LinkedIn. And I'm open for collaboration as well to work with other organizations and corporate societies.
So please give us the contact details again.
Yeah, so my contact details, my email is ookshelf@gmail.com. ookshelf@gmail.com. On Instagram, I'm available on the Shelf Conversation Podcast. On TikTok, the Shelf Conversation Pod. LinkedIn, Kwame Osei Owusu, and YouTube, Osei Owusu Kwame.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kwame Osei Owusu, for coming through and giving us these gems to wrap up Mental Health Awareness Month. He's a clinical pharmacist, speaker, podcaster, and host and founder of the Shelf Conversation Podcast and mental health advocate. It's a pleasure having you here. Looking forward to having you again for another conversation.
Thank you very much.
I think together we should destigmatize men's mental health and as well bring more awareness. Most importantly, let men feel easier to let them feel that they can speak to other people and not need to be a part of the toxic masculinity troop that keeps people feeling as if they can't speak out or be emotional. So yes, women, you know what to do. Have a conversation with the one in your life. Let the men know that they can share and be a safe space for them to share with. Now let's move on to latex foam rubber products, because they truly bring the very best when it comes down to living and home products. These days, the match